Hello, Corey here. Thank you for joining me. I recently published two books, the first one being A New and Improved System of Scale Fingering, and the second one being The 12 Major Scales with New and Improved Fingering. I've developed a brand new fingering system for the 24 major and minor scales. In a couple minutes, I'm going to go to an overhead view on my piano, and I'm going to go over a few examples that I use in this book here, A New Improved System of Scale Fingering, and I'm going to explain in detail and try to make it very easy to understand where I'm coming from with this new system. Okay, so before I do that, let's just imagine something. Imagine if the major and minor scales for piano had never been invented yet. I know it's hard to imagine, but imagine the major and minor scales. Let's say the scales existed. Okay, so the major and minor scales exist. All right, they exist as an entity, but the fingerings have never been invented yet. It's your job or my job or our job to come up with the most logical system of fingering for the 24 major and minor scales. How would you do that? Okay, so here I am at my keyboard, and I'm going to explain how I would go about inventing a system of fingering for the major scales. First of all, we have to realize that there are two mirror points on the piano. There is D. For instance, if you play the chromatic scale going outwards from D, like this, you are going to use the same fingering in the right hand going up as you are from the left hand going down. And that's because D is a mirror point. The notes, the white and black keys are mirrors going in either direction, and the hands are mirrors as well. So logically, it follows that whatever fingering you use in the right hand for the chromatic scale going up, you must also use that fingering for the left hand going down, because it's a mirror. You would not, in an ideal fingering system, these two cannot clash. They cannot disagree. You have to have both mirrors have to be the same fingering, because our hands are mirrors. Okay, so this is first and foremost the main principle behind this new system is the idea of all scales, all the major scales have mirrors, just like the chromatic scale does from D. Now let's move outward from D by a half step to these two notes here. Let's play E flat major in the right hand, and just for sake of simplicity, I'm going to assume the traditional fingering for this scale, which puts the thumb on F and the thumb on C. See, that's the traditional fingering. You can either start on 2 if you want, but the theoretically correct fingerings always begin and end on the same finger. So here we go. Now I want you to take this E flat scale, take what we just did here, and start on this key here with your third finger, and try to play the mirror of that going down and up. So you'll have to think white and black keys. Okay, so we have black, white, white. So we're going to go black, white, white. So it's C sharp, B, A. So black, white, white. Now we're going to have two blacks there. And then the thumb will go under in both. So the thumb is C here and E here. And both second fingers play D. And then we have the end here. So if you play them together, that's what it sounds like. to play this a few times. Play the E flat scale and play the mirror of the E flat scale down here. And I don't have sheet music up here for a reason, because I want you to see that on the keyboard. Now, just like our rule with the chromatic scale, if you play one fingering in the right hand going up, you must also play that fingering in the left hand going down, because they're mirrors. And that's what we're doing, right? We're doing it. We're doing the exact mirror of E flat. Here's the problem. The problem is this scale right here. The problem is that that's an A major scale starting on the third, starting on C sharp. The problem is this. The problem is the traditional fingering for A major in the left hand is you put your thumbs on A and E. But here, we have to put our thumb on B and E. So if we take the E flat right hand fingering as the model, then the A major scale in the left hand must have the thumb on E and B, which means it must start with 2 on A, which means okay, so here's the logic. If this then this. So if we play the E flat major scale with the traditional fingering in the right hand, then that means the A major scale in the left hand must begin on 2, and your thumb must play B and E. That's a radical change, but what we're really just doing is we're just shifting things over a bit. So the 3, 2, 1, so in the traditional A major scale in the left hand, you have the 4, 3, 2, 1 group occurs on starting here. So that's the 4, 3, 2, 1 group. And then here's the 3, 2, 1 group. But in the new fingering, we're simply switching those around. So the 3, 2, 1 group occurs here, and the 4, 3, 2, 1 occurs here, which means, of course, 2 falls on A. So E flat, but we can also do this. We can also assume, if you assume the A major fingering if you assume the traditional A major fingering in the left hand, that's going to change the E flat fingering. So let's do that. So let's assume instead of this fingering, instead of putting your thumb on F and C and your thumb on B and E here, let's do it with the traditional A major left hand fingering, which would put the thumb on A and E. All right? So thumb on A, thumb on E. Thumb on E, thumb on A, and you can just play 3, 2 here. I mean, technically it should be 4, 3, but we'll just use 3, 2, okay? So 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now, that's what the fingering would be if we assumed what everyone plays in the left hand for A major. That would be the fingering. Our thumb would go on A, our thumb wouldn't go on B. So if we do that, so if this, then this. So your thumb would have to go on G. Let's try to play those together. So we're going to go 2, 3, and now 1, 2, 3, and now 1, 2, 3. We have a problem. We have a huge problem because they're both at odds. So if we assume if we assume the traditional A major fingering in the left hand, then we will have to change the E flat fingering in the right hand to have the thumb on G and C instead of F and C. However, the other way around, if we assume from the beginning the traditional E flat major fingering in the right hand with the thumb on F and C, then that means that A major in the left hand must have the thumbs on B and E and start with the second finger on A. So each one influences the other, but which one is right and which one is wrong? We have to figure that out. That's the problem that we're dealing with. But here's the problem with the traditional system. The traditional system, those contradict each other. They need to be in total agreement. Now, if we move out, let's try this one here. Let's try one more, and I'll show you. And then if you're interested more in this, you can get the book. Okay. So let's play the F major scale on the right hand with a traditional fingering. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and find the mirror for that. So the mirror will be thumb on B. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then thumb under, like that. So let's try hands together. So F major in the right hand has a mirror relationship with G major in the left hand starting on the third. So if we assume the G major fingering in the right hand by 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're putting our thumb on G and C, if we assume that, then we must also assume that this is the F major scale going down and up, starting on the third. So if we put the thumb on G in the right hand, we'll have to put the thumb on A in the left hand, and then the thumb also on E, because we put the thumb on C here. See? But the problem is that's not the traditional fingering for the F major scale in the left hand. So this means that if we assume the G major fingering in the right hand, the traditional G major fingering, then for the F major scale going down, the thumb will have to play A and E. That would mean that F major in the left hand would have to go like this. You see, so the G major and the traditional fingering in the right hand is at odds with the F major fingering in the left hand, and vice versa. As is, I showed you earlier, the E flat major fingering in the right hand is at odds with the traditional A major fingering in the left hand, and vice versa. And the list goes on. So there's a problem here. There's a problem with the traditional system in that we see contradictions between these mirror scales. So in creating our new system of fingering, these must be worked out to agreement, which means one of these, we need to decide on one of these sides. So let's go back to the E flat scale. So I assume the E flat fingering in the right hand as the better of the two, which means we're going to have to change the A major fingering in the left hand. Also, I assume the F major fingering in the right hand with the thumb on F and C that being the case, we're going to have to change the left-hand fingering to G major to have the thumb on B and E. That means the G major fingering in the new system is 3-2-1, 3-2-1, 3-2, like that. But if you keep going, it's 4-3. So if you keep going, it's 3-2-1, 3-2-1, 4-3-2-1, 3-2-1. See where 4 lands? 4 lands on F sharp. So instead of playing 4 on A, we're playing 4 on F sharp. And that makes the 4-3-2-1 group actually, I think, better when 4 lands on F sharp. So the new fingering for G major is that. The new fingering for A major is this. Now you'll notice something. Notice something that these are both sharp keys. A major and G major are both sharp keys. 1 sharp for G and 3 sharps for A. You can do the same thing with D major also. But notice this, I should have actually said this earlier, but the relationship is that always the number of flats or sharps will be the same. So a major scale with so many flats in the right hand is a mirror of the major scale with the same number of sharps in the left hand, and vice versa. So when you put all these together and work out the fingerings, it actually works out very neatly to all the flat keys will have both thumbs will play F and C on all the flat keys. And that's the way it is already. And the traditional system already does that in the right hand. So if we take the traditional B flat fingering, notice how the thumb plays C and F. Let's play, so we played F, B flat, let's play E flat. If we play E flat, thumb on F, thumb on C. Let's go to A flat, 4 flats. Thumb on C, thumb on F. Okay, let's go to D flat. Thumb on F, thumb on C. Let's go to G flat. Thumb on C, that's actually C flat. Okay, so thumb on C, thumb on F. So I believe the traditional right hand fingerings for the flat keys, the flat major keys, are the better fingerings. And so I use those to generate all the fingerings for the sharp keys in the left hand. And that changes virtually all of them. Virtually all of them. I think the only one that stays the same is, actually a couple that stay the same are B major. That's the same, no change there. And E major, no change here either. And it's because I need to complete what I was getting at here. The flat keys, then, you know, if you put all of these relationships together and examine them, you will discover that with all the flat keys, that both thumbs will play C and F at the same time. So, and then all the sharp keys, both thumbs will play B and E at the same time. For example, let me give you the fingering for C major. So I know this seems crazy, but the C major fingering actually in the new system is the same as the D flat major fingering. Okay, so first let's play D flat major. So you're starting with those, you go to the thumbs, then you go to those, and then you go to those at the top. So we start with these, okay? So now let's transfer all that to C major. Start with 2, 3, thumbs on E, go to your 4, 3, 2, thumbs on B, and then C. Now try playing D flat major. Now go back to C with the same fingering. Really interesting the way that works out. So in the new system, just to make a long story short, and you can read more about this in the 12 major scales book, that the C major and D flat major or C sharp major have the same fingering. Very interesting. Now, look at D and E flat. So let's play D now. The D major scale, since it's a sharp scale, we're going to play the thumbs on E and B. E and B. Remember, sharp scales, thumbs on E and B. That means we're going to start on 2 on D. So 2, thumbs on E. Now the 3, 4, 3, 2, 2, 3, 4. Thumbs on B. And now 3, 2, 2, 3. Thumbs, 4, 3, 2. Thumbs on E and 2. So let's play that a couple times. Okay, now remember that fingering. Go up to E flat and do the exact same fingering. 2 on E flat, both thumbs on F, 4, 3, 2, both thumbs on C, so you have D major and E flat major have the same fingering, just like C major and D flat do, but they have a different fingering. So they go in pairs. C and D flat have the same, D and E flat have the same, and what do you know? E and F also have the same fingering. This is what one of the things I love about this system, and it like turns everything on its head. The first of all, F major in the new system is exactly the same. So there's no change here. There's no change here because the thumbs play C and F. So we don't have to change anything. Okay, now take that fingering and do that in E major. So the only change is instead of playing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, you're going to play 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or if you continued, you'd play your thumb there. So E major with the traditional F major fingering goes like this. And it's easier than the other way because the thumbs fall on the same 2 keys. If you were to play multiple octaves, your thumbs go together on B, together on E, together on B, and E. Thumbs on B, thumbs on E, thumbs on B, and then you can use 5 here at the end. Only use 5 as a convenience finger at the end. So E major and F major have the same fingering. So C and D flat, D and E flat have the same, E and F have the same fingering. And then F sharp, we retain the same fingering as in the traditional system because the thumb lands on C flat and F, or C and F. That doesn't have a partner. But if we take G major and A flat major, those have the same fingering. So since G major is a sharp key, the thumbs go on B and E. So if we put the thumbs on B, then the fingers to start with 1G are 3 and 2 and 2 and 3. So 2, 3, thumbs on B, and then another 2, 3, and then thumbs on E, and then another 3, 2, and 2, 3. Thumbs, 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 thumbs. So remember where your thumbs go. Now if we go another octave, then we're going to have to play 4, 3 here, not 3, 2. I'm just using 3, 2 for convenience here. So, but the theoretically correct fingers are 4 and 3. And also in the right hand. The theoretically correct fingers to start with would be 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But just to make it easier, you can start with 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now, take that fingering and apply that to A flat. Very, very easy. So we're playing the traditional fingering for the right hand, but in the left hand we're just changing, instead of playing 4 on D flat, we're playing 3 on D flat, and we're playing the thumb on F, and then we're putting 4 on G instead. If we keep going, we'll put the 4 on G, but if we just go one octave, you can just play 3, 2 there. So we're only using 3 fingers if you just play one octave up and back. A flat fingering, G fingering is the same. So we have G and A flat have the same fingerings. Now, A and B flat have the same fingering as well. So, because A is a sharp key, we're going to put the thumbs on B and E. So if we put the thumbs on B, the finger to start with on A is 2. So we go 2, thumbs on B, thumbs on E, and then 4, 3, 2. Thumbs on E, thumbs on B. Now let's take that fingering and now apply that to B flat. 2, thumbs on C, because it's a flat key, thumbs on F. And now 4, 3, 2. So let's go back and do A. And now let's do B flat. See? It works out very well. So these two have these 2 major scales, same fingering. These 2 major scales, same fingering. These 2 major scales, same fingering. This one's by itself. These 2 have the same fingering. These 2 have the same fingering. And B is by itself. By the way, B is normal. We're not changing anything on B. B is a sharp key, so the thumbs are going to go on B and E. And that's what we do. Thumbs on E, thumbs on B, thumbs on E, and thumbs on B. So there are a few of these scales that are unchanged in the new system. All of these fingerings were generated from those mirror relationships. So remember that right hand sharp fingerings have an inverse relationship with left hand flat fingerings and vice versa. This is actually a much more coherent system than the traditional system, because these are the same, these are the same, these are the same, these are the same, these are the same. Where the traditional system, it's all scattered. Like the first 5 scales in the circle of fifths have the same fingering in both hands, but the thumbs don't land on the same two keys in both hands. And then all of the other 7 scales after that have different fingerings. So it's very inconsistent. This is the basis behind this new system. I hope you could understand this. I hope it wasn't too technical for you, but this is how I think. This is how I came up with this new system. So thank you for watching.